Well, welcome back to another episode of Buffalo Happy Hour. Mike, what's going on?
Derek, I have a sinus headache, so I brought extra le. So, yeah, just...
Why water? What do you mean you had a sinus headache so you want to drink water? I've never heard that before.
When I ensure I'm more hydrated, it helps. My sinus headaches, yeah.
Is that like...
When I'm dehydrated, it actually makes it worse.
Is that like backed by science?
I don't know, but me and the wife swear by it. So anytime we have a sinus headache, which she has sinus headaches like 4 days every week, so she'll just sit there and crush water, but it helps. It definitely helps. I mean, dude, hydration's a key to life.
That's true.
You know?
Your body's what, 70% water?
It's like 70 to 76, 77% in that range.
Yeah.
Whatever the actual statistic is, but it's ridiculous. Like, if you're properly hydrated, you're in much better shape than if you're not.
I want to ask you how much water you drink normally, but before we dive in...
enough.
Yeah.
Not enough. We'll get into it.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We are the Buffalo Happy Hour podcast, where we use our platform to help promote small businesses, and we give them a free platform to promote and do all their things. We release weekly episodes every Monday. We release special interviews every Friday. So if you want to join us in helping small businesses, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on all of our social media accounts. You can... What?
The cans.
Okay. You can... hit that like button and also leave a comment down below and let us know what your favorite part of today's episode was, especially if it was moving these cans for you, because we do yeoman's work over here. But yeah, so make sure you follow all of our social media accounts. We post there 6 days a week, probably 7 at this point. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. Today, we're obviously going to talk about Mike's sinus headache, because clearly that's pressing news. Then we're going to talk about Taconic Distilleries Bourbon Cream. We're going to review that as always, and we have a recommended section for cocktails. Then we're going to round out today's episode with... No, don't remember.
Oh, the prominent figures section. And this week it is Tim Russert.
Tim Russert.
Yes.
Speaking of yeoman's work, he did the yeoman's work.
He did. He definitely did. There's a lot of things that I didn't know about when I was doing the research. But I did the research about a week and a half ago. Type A. What's up? Mm-hmm. So I'll go through everything. We're not using the TV today, so I apologize, but I'm going to read off my phone. So if you're watching on YouTube, then that's
probably
that's
honestly
why.
A little more engaging reading off your phone anyway, because then you're looking more directly into the camera rather than spinning and shooting up there. You know?
I know, but you and I are old school. Like, if we're with guests or if we're doing an interview or if we're just having a collaboration event, like, no one's on their phone.
Right.
Like, we're trying to be as present as possible for every moment. So we're trying to drag that into the weekly episodes, but it's fine. It's whatever. So hydration.
Yeah. How much water do you drink a week or a day?
Not enough. Dude, you should legit drink a gallon of water a day.
Jesus.
And yeah, your
what's
coaster
on this
wanted
coaster?
to come.
Yeah, this coaster's like, I drink a gallon of water a day.
And I don't even probably come close to half a gallon, at all.
Really?
Yeah. Dude,
because
I have 16 ounces in the morning.
You're supposed to have an ounce per half of your body weight or something like that, right?
Something like that, yeah. But I have 16 ounces in the morning and then whiskey. So whatever's in whiskey. But that's, yeah. So if anyone hears anything crazy, it's pretty windy out.
Yeah.
We got a foot of snow in the last 2 days.
But it's warm, which is why we're back in the garage.
But it is warmer. But if you hear a loud creak, we're not about to die from a cave-in. It's just the snow on the roof.
And warm, I mean, by Buffalo Buffalo standards. If it's Texas standards, it's just another Tuesday for them.
Correct.
But it's 32 degrees outside, so it's pretty warm.
Yeah, it's nice. So I probably have I probably have a quarter gallon of water a day, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's horrible. Yeah. And I'm cognizant about it. As of probably a month and a half ago, I've been definitely increasing my water intake. I just get super busy and I just keep going and going and going. I don't stop to drink water unless I'm actively working out.
Yeah. So your thing is that you just don't find time. It's not that you find water boring.
Oh yeah, no, I don't need Mio. I don't I'm not a snob when it comes to water. I don't drink I'll drink tap. Dude, you know this. You know me. As long as it's not totally stagnant, I'll drink out of it. You can always use a life straw and filter it. You can always boil it. Yeah. But if I'm in the States and I'm not in Flint, Michigan or in Lovejoy, I'm drinking the water.
But there is something to be said about good tasting water, and it'll make you want to keep drinking it. My water that I have here, I run it through the Brita, and it's literally ice cold. Like this Hartman thing that we have of water has an ice cube in it because it's been chilling outside. But the one inside, it goes to the Brita and it's tasty. But my mom's house, I have to bring my own water because my mom lives in Elma, and it's disgusting. I don't know why. It's not. They don't have a well. It's not well water. It just tastes like garbage. Maybe because they haven't changed their Brita filter in 17 years, but it just does not taste very good. So I have to bring my own water, or else I'm not drinking it.
No kidding.
I got pretty good at it. So when I went to the doctor, he was like, "You're dehydrated from my blood work." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, but everybody's dehydrated. Nobody drinks the correct amount of water." And he goes, "Yeah, I know, but just try to drink more." So I drink I have a 34-ounce thermos.
It's the most obnoxious travel mug in the history of the world.
But
you bring that thing golfing.
I know.
Driving around, I'm like, how do you not pee like every 30 minutes?
But that's the thing is I drink so much water and I'm still dehydrated. He still tells me I'm dehydrated. I have to drink like 100 ounces of water a day.
You drink quadruple the amount that I do of water.
But I'm still dehydrated. So science is a joke. That's
Your
what we're trying to
doctor
say.
would literally have a stroke if he read my blood work. You're like, why is your blood 40 ABV? Like,
yeah, it's starting to look like Kikori whiskey over there when you're pissing because it's just bright yellow.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, so do you like try to drink more or do you not?
No, I do. I'm always doing something, and I don't think like, oh, I should stop and drink water now. Like, I just keep working, and then all of a sudden I just go to bed.
Do you drink anything else other than water and whiskey and coffee?
No. I hiked, getting into our weekly recap, I hiked in Wales the morning after we found out there was a snow belt hammering the South Towns.
Mm-hmm.
So, or like the southern tier, not the South Towns, but the southern tier. So like Wales, East Aurora, OP, Colden, Boston, Kissing Bridge, like all those, Springville were just getting destroyed by snow. Like for people outside of Western New York, they got a foot overnight. And then I drove into the storm to go hike with Sam. A friend of mine, Harley, brought her husky Luna, and then we just went out and played in the snow and walked Hunter's Creek. So when I got done hiking, I slammed a water bottle. This water bottle I slammed when I got in my truck because I'm like, that was ridiculous. It was like a 2.5, 3 mile hike, untouched, 2 feet of snow, just ridiculous. And then when I got home, I had tea. So, I don't necessarily like tea, obviously because we won the war, but it was nice to drink something
we
warm.
dumped all that out.
Right, in the harbor. So I had tea to warm myself up, and I didn't want hot chocolate.
Yeah.
So I had black chai tea, relaxed, and then I had a shake, which was also 16 ounces of water. So that day I had, over 100 ounces of water.
But does that count, though?
One day?
No, like in your shake.
Yes, because it's still water.
But, like, it doesn't count for coffee. If it does, I far exceed my amount of water that I need to drink a day. But it doesn't count for coffee. So I don't think it counts. Because water's in everything if you're really going to be that strict about it.
Well, yeah, that's why the Irish running joke is there's water and whiskey, so I'm fine.
There you go.
Yeah.
Have you ever had, speaking of hot chocolate, have you done one of those hot cocoa bombs?
The ball thing you
Yeah.
drop in? No.
No, you don't drop it in. You put it in there first, and then you pour the hot water over it. It's like an experience, man. You get sprinkles and Oreos flying out of the cup.
Then why do I see people with boiling water and then they drop it in?
Oh, are you talking about a bath bomb?
No,
'Cause it's different.
It's the hot chocolate bomb, but they do it with boiling.
Really?
It's the water first.
See, now the exciting thing about doing one of those is you're watching the chocolate melt as you're pouring the hot water on top of it. The people that are doing it reverse are like putting milk in first and then cereal on top of that.
Right.
It's borderline serial killer mentality.
Correct. I agree with you.
But I just started drinking orange juice because, not just started, like this isn't a new thing for me. Like I finally found this thing. It's awesome. Everyone needs to try it. But I drink so much water and coffee and whiskey that I needed something else to cleanse or to like keep feeding my palate, So I started drinking a lot of orange juice. The vitamin D, calcium, fortified, health,
Do you ever drink pineapple juice? Mm-mm. I crush pineapple juice.
Really?
Yeah. All right. Relax.
I only do when it's in a Singapore sling. What's good?
No, so pineapple juice is actually incredible for you post-workout.
Really?
Because it's full of a bunch of stuff that you excrete during intense exercises.
What's your favorite fruit?
Pineapple.
Is it?
The garage is literally going to blow over. I hope people hear this because it's mildly hilarious.
So what's your favorite fruit? Pineapple? Second favorite fruit?
Blueberries.
Like, will you buy a pineapple, slice it up, and then just snack on it?
Yes. It's not often, but I will.
I feel like I had pineapples so much. It was similar to like the Warheads incident that I had a while ago where it started peeling my tongue off because it's so sour. I eat so many oranges now. I'm going to turn into an orange. I eat oranges. I drink orange juice. Everything in my life is orange. But yeah, that's really it. So what else did you do this week? What else is going on? You went hiking.
Outside of the hike, I started the trim in my house. I'm redoing all the trim in my house. So
what have you been watching lately on TV? Anything exciting?
The Blacklist. I'm on the final episode I'm on the final season that's out, season 7. We have 3 episodes left in the season, so I'm pretty sad. Then we're gonna switch to The Sinner, and then once The Sinner's up, then we're gonna watch the next season of Ozark because it'll be released by then. Yeah. And then once we're done with that, we're gonna start Yellowstone.
What's that?
Yellowstone?
Yeah.
It's with Kevin Costner, but he basically just like lives out in the middle of the woods, and it's him and his family, and it's like in the West, and the whole show is about developers trying to develop the land that he owns, and he's got this massive couple 100-acre ranch. And he's like, no, to all the developers.
Really?
Yeah. So he basically like goes to war against them, and it's kind of like Ozark in a way, but it's amazing.
Minus some money laundering.
No.
Oh, there's some money. Okay.
It's a good show.
I've been watching that Men in Kilts. Did you watch that yet?
No, I don't have access to Stars. I don't think.
We'll buy it. I didn't have access to it. I just bought it.
Oh yeah, it was just.
It's $5 a month. You're fine. But it's cool because the first
that was the most like wasp thing in the world. Just buy it. Just buy it, Michael.
But yeah, it's a great show. The first episode, they went to Lafroig and went through the entire distilling process. It was fascinating. Like, you should watch it.
It's kind of sad that we get very interested, happy, and excited over that.
Dude.
And most people are like, what are you even saying? And we're like, yeah, but dude, the sour mash process, like we have to talk about it.
Speaking of that, finally got my pin in today.
Whoop whoop. So I didn't know if you were sarcastic or not, but you actually like the pin? We won't tell people like exactly what it is, because if they want it, then earn it. But you get a pin, and it's a part of it. It's an experience when you receive it.
But like, I like that it's not in your face.
No.
Like, to me, if you were passing somebody on the street and you have no idea what that is, you'd be looking at that and you'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. It doesn't say like Master Bourbon Dude on it. It just has like, it's plain and cool. Simple and classy, and it's not like, I am a certified bourbon steward. So
I wouldn't feel weird or pompous wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a level of it where someone would stare at it and be like, are you a Freemason?
That's a good point.
Like,
very good point.
It's a conversation starter, and it's perfect to go on a lapel.
Mm-hmm.
Of something nice. Which it's going to be.
Dude, my garage actually might fall over.
I think a lot of it is... it's
all the soffits.
Yes, that's what it is.
That are blowing around out there.
Yeah, so we're fine.
It's probably not in there correctly. But so should we talk a little bit about the cool thing that we had going on this past Saturday?
Yeah.
First, let's take a sip.
Get a little nose action in this bourbon cream. So far, it smells like every other bourbon cream.
It's very cream forward.
This is dangerous, dude.
I don't taste much bourbon at all.
You know why?
Why?
It's 35 proof.
That's what the other ones are, though, too.
Yeah,
I think.
But we're not used to 35 proof, especially after this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you that don't know...
Tell them about it.
We got asked by 3 Chord Bourbon to do a barrel pick, and it turned into a collaboration event where we're incorporating our logo and their logo to be on the label. And we were able to bring in a panel of people that have worked with us from the beginning in the industry to sit down and go through a couple options, taste everything, give feedback. It was a tasting, essentially, so that we can pick our own BHH 3 Chord barrel pick bourbon. And here we go.
Which is huge. It really is huge.
So we downgrade basically everything we do at all times because we still don't know what we're doing. But the opportunity that was presented, we obviously couldn't say no. And it allowed other businesses to network, meet, hang out for an hour and a half, 2 hours. How long was that?
It was 2 hours.
It was 2 hours. And they were able to have like a no phone interruption, no outside distractions, nothing about life came into play. It was literally just all of us at a table talking about bourbon and trying to figure out which one tastes the best and talking about the industry in general, where if this podcast didn't exist, they wouldn't have been able to do that.
Right.
And the people that met would never have met.
Right.
And it allowed them to also grow their businesses just from that connection. So having all of that and then, bringing in the people that were brought in had their feedback, but it was so humbling to be a part of that because it's just organic. Everything about that was organic. Like it's just friends at a table picking a good whiskey that they think other people would want to buy.
Yeah.
So we did the initial first step. We picked a solid first option. We have a secondary option that we're teasing with to see if it makes sense or not. So we're still in the beginning stages. However, it's a working process to establish our own bottle, which will then be sold and then anybody can buy.
Yeah. So for everybody that might not be clear on what this is, Devil's River, for their process, they had a single barrel and they issued a bottle to us. So that wasn't a Buffalo Happy Hour barrel select. I know that could be confusing because our name was on a bottle, but it was a single barrel that they gave to us to review. This is, we are actually going to be picking out a barrel at 3 chord and taking the contents out of that for our podcast. So it's like the next step. It's
a different animal,
Yeah.
and it allows us to get more involved in the overall operation and process in making a bottle of whiskey, which for us is just unbelievable. So everything's fine. I'm basically just like letting it pass, and then we'll continue. So it's fine. It's fine. So at least we got hard
Should
balls.
I do some background music so it fades that out?
No, we have to leave it because this is part of it. Because this isn't going to last forever. So this is it. This is going to be hysterical in 3 years when we look back and we're like, what were we doing other than freezing? Right. So essentially we're working through this. We're letting you guys know if you're interested. Obviously, it's going to be announced of where these are going to be sold for how much, and then you can pick up a bottle. So it's going to be crazy. I mean, there are so many different pieces that are in motion, right? So like graphic designers, different businesses, us, and then we're just trying to make this a viable thing.
Yeah.
It's a little baby, and we're just letting it grow.
But I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's going to taste fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited. We won't give spoilers away, but this secondary option that we're thinking about, I think is going to just be that touch that makes people's minds just blown.
I hope.
Because it's not very common.
No.
So
no.
It'll be cool.
Yes.
All right. Anything else before we jump into the whiskey section?
No.
Nailed it. All right, so today, like we talked about in the beginning of the episode, we have Taconic Distilleries Bourbon Cream. So again, this isn't a bourbon or a whiskey. It's a bourbon cream, kind of like Bailey's, Irish cream, or we had Black Button on 2 years ago at the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez, that's so long ago. But basically, this is taking one of their products, blending it with cream, and then calling it a bourbon cream for various types of occasions or whatever you would want to do. So this is 35 proof and 17.5 ABV. So normally when we talk about ABV and proof, we're around like the 100 proof mark. So this isn't meant to be something that you get sloshed off of. This is meant for you to have like after dinner or in your morning coffee if you're feeling a little risque or anything along those lines. So the MSRP on this also is $55.48. So it is on the higher price point when you compare it to Bailey's and Black Button. I'm pretty sure, right?
It's how much?
$55.
Yes, it's more expensive than Black Button. Black Button's like mid $30 for a bottle.
Yeah. I think that, like, when you listen to all this stuff that's happening, it's like, it sounds like tumbleweeds of plastic are just rolling through the studio.
Yeah, except it's just death from above via snowmen. So
it's not even snowing. It's just so windy. I'm looking at my neighbor's pinwheel, and the thing's like, see ya. It's going as fast as possible. But so a little background on this. We talked at nauseum about Taconic Distillery on episode 55. So if you're interested in hearing more about the Taconic business model and the other product that we reviewed, which was their straight bourbon, go back and check that out. It was a very, very good product, very tasty, and there's some cool collaboration that happened specifically with the bottle that we had. So go back and check that out. That was episode 55. So some of their products, since we didn't touch on that last time, some of the products that they have the straight bourbon Dutchess Private Reserve, which is what we had. That scored an 86 on Jim Murray's Whiskey Bible. I don't know who Jim Murray is, but he sounds like a pretty popular dude. Then they have a straight bourbon barrel strength that scored a 92.5. The double barrel maple bourbon, which was not rated. Founder's straight rye whiskey, which was a 90, and a straight rye whiskey barrel strength, which is 91.5, which is very interesting. I don't know if I've seen a rye barrel strength. Have you?
No.
That's specifically called out as a rye barrel strength.
Yeah. I want to try that.
Interesting, yeah. So Taconic, their bourbon cream is manufactured using their award-winning straight bourbon whiskey. So the first product that we tried, that's what's being used to make this bourbon cream. And that's really all that we got.
All right, well.
They're located in the Hudson Valley, right, New York. So if you do want to try something, go on their website. They do have a listing of stores and places where you can buy them. So go on there, check them out. Their stuff is very, very good. And already just the initial taste off of this is a very good bourbon cream.
It is. It definitely is. Taconic, thank you for sending this. We greatly appreciate it. Obviously, we had to feature it because we're excited. So thank you for the additional content and allowing us to work more with you guys.
Have you had, like, before we started this podcast, were you a big bourbon cream guy?
No, I really didn't know. I didn't know much about it. Bailey's Irish Cream was always, like, around. All right, dude.
I forgot there's ice in here.
I know. Well, you know, that's what happens when you hang out with the Titanic. So like, Bailey's Irish Cream was always around. My family always made, like, mudslides or threw it in their coffee just because, you know, what else would you do? So on a Saturday or Sunday, you know, the Lord's Day.
But would you ever throw it in your coffee? Did you do that a lot or no?
I would do, like growing up, I wasn't allowed to touch it. Now would I do it? Absolutely. On a Saturday, no doubt.
Yeah.
I would.
Do you normally put cream in your coffee?
No, I drink it black.
Yeah.
I just pour it. All the work was already done. It's the same thing as drinking whiskey neat. That's how I consider it.
Yeah.
You know, they work real hard to make it what it is. I just want to taste it.
Have you ever seen those scales that are like, all right, so starting at A and going to E, what is your coffee? What is your toast? And what's the other one? Steak.
Yeah.
Where do you fall on those?
Rare for my steak.
Do you actually like it rare, or are you a medium rare guy?
No, rare.
You like it still mooing at you? Where the inside is still cold a little bit?
Well, I mean, not purple, but it's red and it's bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. My toast is kind of in the middle, like a golden brown, and I always slap, you know, just a little bit of healthy butter on there. Leave me alone. It's not often. I do sometimes have dry toast, but it's...
Do you really?
I'm like sick, or I had it last night with an omelet because I cut the omelet and then I put it on the toast.
Point, yeah.
But otherwise, let's see, and then for my coffee, it's either black or like the 2 to 3 range. Sometimes, like if it's a bourbon cream, I'll do like a dash just so I can experience it in coffee. But Jameson doesn't change the color of my coffee, so it's still black.
True.
It's just got some JMO in there.
So when you were growing up and you first started drinking coffee,
here we go.
What was your path like? Because you worked at Tim Hortons too. So what was your path like? Did you start off like 7-7 and then you just dwindled yourself down to black?
No, it was always like a double with chocolate milk. That was my go-to.
With chocolate milk?
Yeah,
interesting.
Amazing. First of all, I did not need coffee until I was about 23 years old. So anytime when I was 16 and I took a little sip of Tim Hortons coffee, I couldn't sleep, and I was a maniac for like 6 hours. Like, I would run around and clean the whole store like 3 times.
Do you remember the first time you had coffee?
Yeah.
When was it?
It was at Tim Hortons.
Oh, really?
When I actually, I actually had it. I never needed it, dude.
See, I remember my first cup was when I was 8, I think.
I tried it, and I hated it.
And coffee's supposed to stunt your growth. Yo, okay.
I remember hearing that myth, too. Yeah. Same thing as staring into a microwave is bad for your eyes because of the waves.
I mean, that could be, too.
Well,
has anyone ever
why does
done
virtual
tests on
reality
that?
work?
True, that's a good point. Well, because they're not microwaves. You're not getting microwaves in your eye.
It's the same thing as a TV.
Well, it puts off different waves, not
we go.
microwaves.
What?
Right?
Whatever. I want to know if my food's boiling. You know? And first of all, it's not like I'm staring at it for the full 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
A watched pot never boils. Ever hear that?
No.
No?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to making spaghetti or something, you're staring at it, you're like, come on, boil. And it just never boils. That's what my grandma always used to say.
Whatever.
But yeah, I don't think TVs give off microwaves. That'd be really weird. Like, you just put your TV dinner next to your TV, and that's why they call it TV dinner.
So what are the... First of all, are we supposed to rate this thing? Like,
Well, we got cocktails, but there wasn't too much to discuss on the history because we already did it. So we can spitball a little bit.
oh yeah, spitball. So we'll just go off on tangents
It's
about
fine.
waves and radioactive waves
Yeah.
and frequencies.
What were you going to say now?
I don't remember, dude. This is a disaster. We went off the rails.
So. All right, well, then do you want to get into the cocktail section?
Yeah.
Do you have a cocktail?
I do.
Okay.
So, okay. Mine is the... Oh, wait! Drop the beat for the cocktail section.
Cocktails.
All right, so mine is the bourbon Irish cream float recipe.
Ooh, float.
So, here we go. This is 1 serving size, 10 to 12 ounces. It's 2 scoops of ice cream, a half cup of a carbonated beverage, skip that, and then 2 tablespoons of bourbon. So why don't we just do like 4 tablespoons of bourbon, 2 scoops of ice cream, and then, yeah, I mean, I guess you can throw in some root beer or whatever, but...
That makes the float. You have to have some sort of root beer. If you don't have the root beer, you have my cocktail, which is just pouring this over chocolate chip ice cream.
Well, I don't know, maybe I just want to get a boozy smoothie, I don't know.
That's all mine is just pour this over chocolate chip ice cream. That's on their site, and it says that that's his preferred way of consuming this, is pouring this over chocolate chip ice cream. That'd be very good.
Well,
I mean, this does taste...
Yeah, so what are you doing after this?
Right? This tastes exactly like vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, it does. So let's rate this thing.
Let's do it.
Oh, brother. Oh, my God. I hope you slip up shaving and just like you have to shave your entire beard.
Oh, I thought you were going
I'm
morbid.
not going to say you die. Good Lord. Granted, I do watch The Blacklist, but it's not,
Right.
it's not that bad.
I got one of the straight razors too that is like a butterfly knife, and
I would lose like 4 of my fingers.
when I first tried that, I was scared for my life. I'm like, Gina, stand next to me because I might need you to put pressure on my carotid artery over here.
It wouldn't matter. It literally wouldn't matter. You could apply
I've
pressure.
seen some shows.
Oh.
What was the show that I watched?
Probably Grey's Anatomy, which is full of garbage, and
No.
it should have been canceled 7 seasons ago.
It should have. You're
Don't
right.
at me.
I was watching something where the dude's whole throat got slit, and then he was holding. I don't remember. And then he survived. I'm like, no way.
Correct. No way. No.
You know how much blood goes through your carotid artery?
If
you would
that-
die in a heartbeat. Nailed it.
Yeah. You have, I believe it's 1 minute. If your
Femoral artery?
femoral or carotid get severed, I think it's a minute, and then you bleed out and you go home.
A minute
Total. From the time it happened, you have 1 minute. You have 60 seconds.
to get completely stitched up, because then there's no way of ever
If it's your
living.
neck, you're going to die. If it's your leg and they identify it fast enough and they apply a tourniquet, you have a chance.
But you'd still lose your leg. You can't lose your head.
Yeah, I mean, you could lose. Well, it all depends on the wound. And
Do you remember years ago, Sabres goalie, right? Vandercheck?
Yeah.
Who he got slit in the throat with
Yeah.
a skate?
But it wasn't deep.
It wasn't
enough.
carotid. Yeah, it was
Correct.
just like across the neck.
Yeah.
But that was the scariest thing.
And he bled everywhere.
Yeah, it was kind of disgusting.
And it was like shooting. Okay, we cannot stay on topic at all today.
All right, let's do the intro for the clip again.
Okay, let's rate this thing.
All right, let's go.
Thank you. All right, label branding. God, you're so...
We need help.
Okay, A++, there's a dog on it. Immediate A. I don't know what it's an immediate A. There's a dog on it. Their labels are straight to the point, but I honestly do like their font, and I like the different color strip, which they have on each bottle. It's a different color, so I like that.
Yeah, it's classy, it's simple, but it's to the point, and I like it. Why are all bourbon creams a black bottle where you can't see through it?
I don't. You know what? It's kind of sad because it makes you always want to have a second bottle, because it's the same thing for me as Scotch. Like, you can't see when it's going, like, as you're depleting it, and then all of a sudden you're out, and then you're just devastated because it's all gone.
Do you think it's because people would be turned off if they see a white liquid inside?
I don't know. I mean, probably not.
Like, that's so weird, because all of them have... Bailey's is black too, right? A black bottle?
Yeah, Bailey's is,
green.
and then as is...
Black button.
Yeah, black button. Sorry, I had some gas. So up top, not down low, pervert.
Jesus Christ.
So label branding...
Can we end this episode? Oh my God, this is a trip.
Yes,
All right, so nose.
Yeah, well, label branding A++. Do you agree?
I agree.
I agree. Nose. I don't know. I have a sinus headache. I can't smell anything. It smells like cream, and it makes me thirsty.
It's straight heavy cream and vanilla bean.
All right, I'm down.
It smells and tastes like... Okay, we'll get into the initial taste first. So, nose, A. I mean, I'm not getting any other smells to it. Just, like, there's no bourbon smell.
Right.
If we had this out for Christmas or some sort of holiday, a small child wouldn't be able to know that this even has alcohol in it based off the smell. That's what I'm saying.
Based off the smell.
Correct.
I agree. I agree.
All right, so A for nose.
Yeah.
All right, initial taste.
Initial taste, you are getting, cream, vanilla bean, like you said, and then you do get, and then you do get a little bit of kick from the bourbon, but it's not like you can pick up baking spices or oak or anything like that. It's just kind of like a sting, and it's pleasant.
So when you were younger, when you have ice cream, ever like take the spoon and just destroy the ice cream and get it all like velvety smooth, like liquid type, and drink it? That's what this tastes like. If you take vanilla bean ice cream and you drink that, this is all what it tastes like.
But slow churned.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I agree. So A again?
A.
Perfect.
Are you writing this down, champ?
Oh my God, what's up with the setup today? God, I'm sorry, guys. I'm still new here.
It's only been 2 years.
Right. Why can't I edit?
So A++.
A++ and then A.
Yeah, AA. There you go. Alcohol's Anonymous. My name is Mike. Hi, Mike.
As we just talked about how we can't taste any of the bourbon because we're literal alcoholics at this point. All right, so ending note, what are you getting?
Ending note, you do get the bourbon, but it's not like you're getting a specific flavor profile out of it. But you're just getting like the sting of it, and then this whole thing encapsulates your mouth, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a full body, as some would say.
It makes you salivate a lot. Yeah, this is very good. So ending note, A again.
Do you get a little honey?
Yeah.
On the ending note?
Maybe a little bit more of that vanilla bean again.
Okay.
I mean, if you get honey, you get honey. A again? All right. Jesus. We have more, you savage.
I just don't want to waste any.
You're just sticking your...
I know, I'm just licking it like a horse. So yeah, A for sure. They're never going to use this for any promotional videos ever. Like, these two are clowns. They literally don't know what they're talking about.
All right, so we're certified bourbon stewards. All right, so final rating, you ready?
Yeah, give me that countdown.
3, 2, 1.
86.
Dude, I hate us.
Go away.
Why we're so similar on everything.
At least I'm safe inside my mind.
At least I'm safe inside my mind. All right, so yeah, that is Taconic Distilleries Bourbon Cream Review. Go check out their website to see where you can buy it near you. They do ship within New York State, and they are available quite a bit in the New York area. I'm not sure how far their reach is, but it is very good. And I'm definitely going to try to have this in some coffee this weekend. Will BHH brunch again?
Depending, because we have a lot of things happening this weekend for the podcast already.
We have a lot to discuss. Yeah, maybe next weekend. It's fine. You don't want to hang out with me. So
No, I do. We just have to brew when we would do brunch.
Yeah, I know. That's true. You want to talk about that too? Before we get into the prominent people section?
Yeah, so we're disasters right now.
Yeah, we got shit everywhere.
Okay,
God.
so...
I really don't try to swear on here. And we're pretty good at not swearing. But
yeah, but then sometimes you just go off. All right, here. Use this.
Easy.
You ready?
No.
All right, now.
It's not nearly as loud as the soffits up there.
Correct. So February 27th, we are, so a week ago, by the time this airs, we are doing a collaboration with our friends at Crooked Lamppost Brewing, and we're excited because we've been trying to do this since before COVID. And then when COVID hit, things changed, whatever. So played it safe. There was a scheduling hiccup where things just didn't line up, but now it did. So we're going over there. We're brewing a beer with them, and then spending the day hanging out. So we're pumped, and then that way we can then have that beer that we make on our show, and then further promote them, and then let everybody know what basically went into it, and then we're most likely it's going to be on our story. Mm-hmm. So if you're not following us on Instagram, it's Buffalo Happy Hour 12. Make sure you tune in because it's basically just going to be a blast.
A pink guava wit beer? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so it's a fruity wit.
Yeah.
Pumped. So that's going to be a really good time. Hopefully it's not freezing, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, they have such a sweet setup there,
I think
too.
they have heated. I think it's heated.
Their spot's awesome.
Yeah. So it's fine. Everything's fine. So,
cool.
Prominent people.
All right, everybody, thank you again for tuning into our Prominent People Buffalo section, where we talk about some pretty prominent people in the Buffalo area that have impacted the area. This is our 9th episode. Yeah. Technically it's our 10th because we spent 2 on William Wild Bill Joe Donovan, and we started with none other than the infamous Stephen Grover Cleveland. But now we are talking about who?
Tim Russert.
Nailed it.
So Timothy John Russert, for those of you who don't know who he is, which really don't understand how you don't know Tim Russert.
Hold on. This is 10th episode.
No, because we had 8A.
And then we did
8A.
Willis Carrier, right? Wasn't that after?
Willis Carrier, and then... Oh, yeah, so this is 10.
This is 10.
All right, go Bills.
Nailed it.
So, Tim Russert, for those of you that don't know, was a American television journalist and lawyer who appeared for more than 16 years as the longest-serving moderator of NBC's Meet the Press. He was a senior VP at NBC News at the Washington bureau chief, and also hosted a epitomis of CNBC, MSNBC weekend interview program. He was a frequent correspondent and guest on NBC's The Today Show and Hardball. Russert covered several presidential elections, and he presented the NBC News/Wall Street Journal survey on the NBC Nightly News during the 2008 presidential election, which the way he did that election is still used today. Like, he was the one that started it. So, Time magazine included Russert in its list of 100 most influential people in the world in 2008. Russert was posthumously revealed as a 30-year source for syndicated columnist Robert Novak. So, Russert was born in Buffalo, New York. He was the son of Elizabeth Betty, who passed in August 2005, and she was a homemaker. And then Timothy Joseph Big Russ Russert, who he passed away on September 2009 as a sanitation worker. His parents were married for 30 years, but before separating in 76, Russert was the only son and the second of 4 children. He has 3 sisters. His parents were Catholics, and he had German and Irish ancestry. He received a Jesuit education, which is the study of Jesus, from Canisius High School in Buffalo. He received his bachelor's in 1972 from John Carroll University and a Juris Doctor with honors from the Cleveland State University Cleveland Marshall College of Law in 76. So basically, he knew all the things about the Lord. PTO. Praise the Lord. Russert commented on Meet the Press.
GTO. Gym Tan Laundry.
Yes. He commented on Meet the Press that he went to Woodstock in a Bills jersey with a case of beer. While in law school, an official from his alma mater, John Carroll, called Russert to ask if he could book some concerts for the school, as he had done while a student. He agreed, but said he would need to be paid because he was running out of money to pay for law school. One concert that Russert booked was headlined by the unknown singer at the time, Bruce Springsteen.
Really?
Who charged $2,500 for the concert appearance. Russert told this story to Jay Leno when he was a guest on The Tonight Show on NBC on the 6th of June in 2006, which is fascinating to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So John Carroll University has since named its Department of Communication and Theater Arts in Russert's honor. Prior to becoming host of Meet the Press, he ran one of U.S. Senator Daniel Moynihan's 5 major law offices based in Buffalo. He later served as a special counsel and chief of staff to Moynihan, a Democrat from Hell's Kitchen, New York. In 1983, he became the top aide for good old Mario Cuomo. For those of you who don't know, he's also a Democrat, and he's the father of good old Andy Cuomo.
God, we can skip this section.
He was hired by NBC News Washington Bureau the following year and became bureau chief by 1989. He assumed the job of host of the Sunday morning program Meet the Press in 1991 and would become the longest-serving host of the program. Its name was changed to Meet the Press with Tim Russert, and, at his suggestion, went to an hour-long format in 1992. The show shifted to a greater focus on in-depth interviews with high-profile guests, where Russert was known especially for his extensive preparatory research and cross-examining style, similar to like what you see now on 60 Minutes, which it takes a lot of people an hour to watch 60 Minutes. So, you're not going to do the drum thing? You're just going to slide right... Thank you. Goodness. All right.
Sorry, I was looking up who is the host of Meet the Press now, which is Chuck Todd.
Gotcha. So one approach he developed was to find old quotes or video clips that were inconsistent with the guests' more recent statements.
That'd be nice.
Presented them on air to his guests, and then asked them to clarify their position. With Russert as host of the show, it became increasingly popular, receiving more than 4 million views per week.
Million.
And millions. It was recognized as one of the most important sources of political news. Time magazine named Russert one of the, like I said earlier, 100 most influential people in the world in 2008, and then he began moderating political campaign debates. So during NBC's coverage of the 2000 election, Russert calculated possible electoral college outcomes using a whiteboard. Now, that whiteboard is in the Smithsonian Institution.
Really?
On the air, he memorably summed up the outcome as dependent upon Florida in the election. TV Guide described the scene as one of the 100 greatest moments in TV history. Russert, again, accurately predicted the final battleground of the presidential election of 2004 with Ohio, Ohio, Ohio. On the MSNBC show, Tucker, Russert predicted the battleground states of the 2008 presidential election would be New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, and Nevada, saying, if Democrats can win 3 of those 4, then they can lose Ohio and Florida and win the presidency. So per the Washington Post, the phrases red states and blue states was coined by Tim Russert, although in that same article Russert states that he wasn't the first to use the terminology. John Chancellor was Russert's NBC colleague. He's credited with using red and blue to represent the states on a U.S. map for the 76th presidential election. But at that time, Republican states were blue and Democratic states were red. Imagine that today.
Jesus.
Yeah, people would flip out. How the colors got reversed is not entirely clear, but during the 1984 presidential election between Reagan and Walter Mondale, obviously we know who won that, because no one knows who Walter Mondale is. ABC
I
News...
thought he won.
Anyways, ABC News used a map which showed Republican states as red and Democratic states as blue. According to Dave Brinkley, that's because red equaled Reagan. So, mainstream political discussion following the 2000 presidential election using red state, blue states more frequently. Now, this is pretty interesting. There was a famous CIA leak scandal in the early 2000s. It's known as the Plame Affair. So, Scooter Libby is the convicted chief of staff for VP Dick Cheney. He got shot, by the way, Dick Cheney, by a shotgun during a hunting accident. Just shot his own man in the back.
Jesus.
So he told Special Prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald that Russert told him of the identity of a CIA officer, Valerie Plam, who was married to a former ambassador, Joseph Wilson. Russert testified previously, and again in the United States versus I. Lewis Libby, that he would neither testify whether he spoke with Libby, nor would he describe the conversation. Russert did say, however, that Plam's identity as a CIA operative was not leaked to him. Russert testified again in the trial of it on February 7th of 2007. According to the Washington Post, Russert testified that when any senior government official calls him, they are presumptively off the record, saying, when I talk to a senior government official on the phone, it's my own policy, our conversations are confidential. If I want to use anything from that conversation, then I will ask permission. Just all for the boys. So, growing up in New York as a Yankees fan, he switched his allegiance to the Washington Nationals when they were established in D.C. He held senior. He held season tickets to both the Nationals and the Wizards and was elected to the board of directors of the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown in 2003. He's a lifelong fan of the Bills. Russert often closed Sunday broadcasts during the football season with a statement of encouragement for the franchise. The Bills released a statement on the day of his death saying that listening to Russert's Go Bills exhortation was a part of the Sunday's morning pregame. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Which, as you and I know, led to one of the most famous things on TV that he's done, but he prayed publicly on the show with his dad when the Bills were going to the fourth Super Bowl for the fourth consecutive time. So in 2008, July, Route 20 leading up to the Bill Stadium in OP was renamed to the Timothy J. Russert Highway. And you see that sign right before that bridge at the bottom of the hill. Bottom of the hill. So from there, Russert was also a Sabres fan and appeared on an episode of Meet the Press next to the Stanley Cup during the Sabres playoff run. While his son was attending Boston College, he often ended Meet the Press with a mention of the success of various Boston College sports teams, and Russert, then a student at the Cleveland Marshall College of Law, attended a 10-cent beer night. Okay, it was a promotion by the Cleveland Indians, which ended in a riot at the stadium. He went with $2 in his pocket. He recalled, you do the math. The dude crushed 20 beers at a beer tent.
Yeah.
And then it ended in a riot. So after he went to Woodstock in a Bills jersey with a case of beer.
Jesus.
So in 2004, Russert penned a best-selling autobiography called Big Russ and Me. This I found not just interesting, but sentimental and powerful. So Big Russ is his dad, right? So okay, Mike, try to read.
Yeah, what's going on?
It chronicled his life growing up in the predominantly Irish-American working-class neighborhood of South Buffalo and his education at Canisius High School. His dad was a World War II vet who held down 2 jobs after the war, emphasized the importance of maintaining strong family values, the reverence of faith, and then never taking a shortcut to reach a goal. Russert claimed to have received over 60,000 letters from people in response to the book detailing their own experiences with their dad. So then he released Wisdom of Our Fathers, Lessons and Letters from Daughters and Sons in 2005. It's a collection of some of those letters. That book also became a bestseller. I love that.
Jesus.
So in 2008, he passes away, right? So shortly after 1:30 p.m. on June 13th, 2008, Russert collapsed at the offices of WRC TV, which houses the D.C. Bureau of NBC News, where he was chief. He was recording voiceovers for the Sunday edition of Meet the Press in a speech he gave at the Kennedy Center. Brian Williams said that Russert's last words were, "What's happening?" spoken as a greeting to NBC Washington Bureau editing supervisor Candace Harrington as he passed her in the hallway. He then walked down the hallway to record voiceovers in the soundproof booth and collapsed. A coworker began to perform CPR on him. The DC Fire and Rescue Service received a call from NBC at 1:40 p.m. and dispatched an EMS unit which arrived at 1:44 p.m. Paramedics attempted to defib his heart 3 times, so rub together clear. But he didn't respond. He was then transported to Sibley Memorial Hospital, arriving at 2:23 p.m., and he was pronounced dead.
Took their sweet-ass time getting this Sibley.
144 to 223. Well, I mean, they were working on him. So he was 58 years old at the time of his death. On the evening of his death, the entire nearly commercial-free half hour of NBC Nightly News was dedicated to his memory. So this is where things take a turn.
Well, how did he die?
Heart.
Oh, okay.
Heart attack. So, or heart complications. I don't know if it was hypertension or whatever, but heart. So on the evening of his death, they had a commercial-free half-hour special dedicated to his memory. CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox News, and BBC spent large segments of their programming on June 13th reporting about his life and career as well. So George W. stated at a news conference with the French president, Nicolas Sarkozy, America lost a really fine citizen yesterday when Tim Russert passed away. I've had a privilege of being interviewed by Tim Russert. I found him to be a hardworking, thorough, decent man, and Tim Russert loved his country, he loved his family, and he loved his job a lot. Bruce Springsteen, who was a friend of Russert's, gave an onstage tribute to him while performing in Cardiff, Wales on June 14th, and again at Russert's televised Kennedy Center memorial service, calling him an important, irreplaceable voice in American journalism and offering condolences to his family. Now, some journalists criticized the amount of media coverage that Russert's death received.
Obviously.
So Mark Leibovich of the New York Times Magazine wrote in his book, This Town, 2 Parties and a Funeral, plus Plenty of Valet Parking in America's Glided Capital, about how Russert's funeral in many ways became a spectacle of some of Washington's most cultural characteristics, largely centering on self-interest and posturing, while feigning remorse for the loss of the deceased. Some attendees even went as far as handing out business cards and vying for good seating. So that was all reported, so then Mike Brzezinski of MSNBC's Morning Joe, he dubbed the scene as a new low, even for Washington tackiness. So it was basically a power trip of like, I got this close to, and I sat front row. I'm like, seriously? Like, I don't know.
So dumb.
Yeah.
That's fascinating though. What a good life he lived.
Yeah,
And
I mean, he was the face of politics. Like there was,
and it seemed like it was pretty fair when he was doing it.
So he reported on the CIA scandal. So the CIA scandal and the Iraq War were like his 2 major milestones that was researched and reported on. And then the CIA scandal was interesting just because he basically told the government, like, it's all confidential. Like if I want to use something for the news, I specifically ask them, can I use this? Can I use that? Similar to us, where we're like, is there anything you said in this interview you don't want out there? Like, we just have that professional respect. So that's, I don't know, in my opinion, paramount. But him using the tactic that I think we all kind of want now, like, reverse the script. If they stand on this side of the line, but 3 years ago they stood on this side of the line, why aren't we reporting that and asking those questions to see where they actually stand and what happened? And, having basically no term limits at all, for consecutive term limits, for that matter, for multiple levels of government officials, like that should be included, like what changed and why, so that the American people understand like what you're actually doing, because again, they work for us, like we don't work for them. So the whole thing was just fascinating to hear how in the early 2000s and the Iraq War and like political tension was high, but it wasn't like this. So. But yeah, that's Tim Russert.
It does a disservice to us now, not having that type of detailed questions to ask somebody about why they're flip-flopping.
They're all softball questions that they get asked.
It's so frustrating. And not to get political, but we just talked about Tim Russert, so obviously we are. But when Trump was in office, every single post was negative.
Yeah.
And yes, he was an idiot. Not saying he was a great dude. But now, all I see about the Biden administration was Jen Psaki answering your questions and Joe Biden answering his questions. And it's just Google searches that are like, what's Joe Biden's favorite color? It's like, this isn't news. What are we doing?
Right.
This is not helping anybody make good decisions. It's all just trying to make them look human when they didn't before. Mm-hmm. It's just so frustrating now. And our boy Tim Russert should be back. We need more Tim Russerts in the world.
That's what I'm saying. Because he gets stones, dude. Like, he would put him on the hot seat.
Yeah. Which they should.
Yeah, but, like, even now, there's journalists that want to have interviews with Cuomo, and the request is denied. Just straight up, no, I'm not gonna have an interview with him. And now, like, I guess he's getting shamed or whatever for having interviews with his brother, because his brother would just put softball questions up in the air and just like give him the most easiest publicity stunt in the world.
Yeah, and now Chris he's not able to interview Andrew at all anymore.
When did that come out? Because I missed that.
A week ago, I think.
It was a week ago? I heard about it and I'm like, oh, seriously?
When all this started happening, yeah.
Yeah.
Because now people are starting to understand that everything was pushed under the rug for a while, and he needs to be out of office.
Everything's been pushed under the rug for over 8 years.
Yeah.
This
is where we need term limits.
So, for those that don't know in New York State, because we have listeners outside of New York State, in regards to term limits, there are term limits. There's just no limit to how many consecutive terms you can have as governor of New York State. There's also no recall option in New York State like there is in California. So a lot of people from California or from the West are like, why don't you just do what California's trying to do with Gavin Newsom? And that's because we physically can't. The only thing we can do is impeach. And that's going to be obviously an extremely long, difficult process in regards to how like liberal the appellate court system is. And then also just to get to that point of actually him showing up in court to then go through the trial, it's going to be a zoo. And obviously it's going to be media circus. All the powers that be are going to be there. Like, it's the whole dynamic of the state's changing. And I don't know. I feel like 2022 is going to be the turning point for New York State, where the election, even if he gets reelected, which I don't know, like I obviously can't tell the future, but I think it's going to surprise a lot of people about how red New York State is,
right?
Just because they want to change, not because they want a Republican in office, but just because they want him out. Similar to the presidential election.
I was just going to say the same thing. It's going to be the reverse Donald Trump,
right?
Biden
like
election.
It's not about. It's just anybody but him. Yeah. That's basically what's going to happen. So I don't even know who's running. Like, I don't know any viable option that's going to run for governor.
Dude, Mark Molinaro pulled in like a solid 30% running against him last time.
Yeah.
He needs to run again. And there's talks locally of term limits, which even on the local government, man, there needs to be term limits. Like our boy Mihailiu, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that his last name?
Stefan Mihailiu.
Yeah, he's a huge proponent in Hamburg about term limits.
Yeah.
Even down to that level, we need turnover. We cannot have the same career people in power, and they're just going to keep bringing in their friends and family, and there's no term limits.
Right. You just get stagnant. And it's not about politics. It's just as a human being, you get stagnant, specifically in that position where it's just not, just keep it fresh. Yeah. Like the whole point of government was so that the average person was elected by their peers, and then they were put there. And then they're there for a little bit, they can do what they can, and then they get kicked out. Like it's not a foreign concept.
Do you think that there's going to be a lot of celebrities running for political office coming 2024?
Probably, just because they think they have a platform and they really don't. Like, no one cares what you post on Instagram. Like,
there's still talks about The Rock running.
Well, okay, Dwayne Johnson. Like, what are you going to do about every foreign policy ever?
Right.
Like, what are you going to do domestically? Like, no one knows. Well, I'm going to work out at 4 a.m. every day. Like, okay, cool, Dwayne, but
it's
like,
just his running mates, Mark Wahlberg.
Like
2 a.m.
There's some things that need to be,
That'd be awesome, though.
Would it, though?
He'll just beat the shit out of Kim Jong-un.
I don't know if he would. That's a whole different league.
Yeah.
And there's some people that should just stay in their lane. Like, it's not a bad thing, and I understand The Rock worked extremely hard for everything he has, no disrespect, but it's just like...
How did Arnold Schwarzenegger get into
That
office?
was a fluke, dude. That was a fluke.
Well, I know that, but like, what was that transition? Should we have him on? I think we should have him on the podcast.
Yeah, let's just call him up.
All right,
Yo,
perfect.
Ani. Ani, come on.
The governor.
Yeah, we can just, I don't know, we'll talk about nachos on the corner and how they shouldn't be there. You know, who knows? Could you imagine that conversation?
No.
I couldn't either.
It would never happen.
He is intelligent, but I mean...
But like, was it... Do you know anything about that? Like, was he...
No.
Okay.
Dude, that was...
Because that's the last time California was red.
Yeah. And you know, the only thing that I remember about him and his campaign was he had a commercial where he's like, California, it's the only place you can ski, and work out on Venice Beach in the same states. And he's talking about like Northern Cali versus Southern Cali. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, and then he got elected. And I was like a little boy. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, he won.
This is the best.
And my stepdad was just staring at me like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, no, this isn't normal. I'm like, of course it's not normal. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and if you want to try to tell me the American dream is dead, first of all, look at our podcast. The American dream is well and live, and secondly, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
We're really successful.
We had the opportunity by being in the U.S. to create this, and we capitalized because of capitalism, free markets, and work ethic. So it does work.
And free speech.
And free speech. It exists. And Arnold was the governor of California, who literally came here from Austria, worked his rear end off, became a bodybuilder, then an actor, and then in politics. Like, the American dream is alive. Like, just stop. Like, no, we can't be president, but, I mean, he kind of proved it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm freezing. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been episode 75 of the Buffalo Happy Hour podcast.
Forgot my sheet. I don't know.
We're a disaster. Today's went on the rail, off the rail. We hit the guardrail a couple times. We're tumbling down the cliff. We know it. But thank you all for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. Go check out Taconic Distilleries website. Go pick up some of their product. Also, if you have not subscribed to us on YouTube, please subscribe. It definitely helps us grow. Just hit that subscribe button right here, like right here, right now, right here. And then also leave a like on the video. Please leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite part of today's video was. There were a lot of different parts today, so please leave a comment down below. Follow our social media accounts. I will leave them right here as well: Facebook and Instagram. Facebook at the Buffalo Happy Hour, Instagram at the Buffalo Happy Hour 12, and we really appreciate it. So thank you guys for sticking around. This coming week, or this past Friday, I'm sorry, we had Hydraulic Hearth interview releasing. So if you are interested in hearing about that, and you're from the local Buffalo area and interested in the history of cocktails, how the old fashioned got its name, and just overall amazing ambiance of the Hydraulic Hearth area, go check out that interview. And then this coming Friday is going to be First Line Brewing, which is going to be an incredible interview. They have some great products, and you'll be seeing a review with their product coming soon. So thank you all for joining. We really appreciate it. Please remember to drink responsibly, be a good person, and Michael,
do not litter.
We're out.